Hello my friends and welcome to my YouTube channel Corrine's Crafts. Thank you for joining us again for this, which I believe is the 5th tutorial, and today I'm going to be making this card. It is so beautiful I had to use the sentiment beautiful on it. We're going to be making some foam flowers and we're going to be creating some gorgeous backgrounds, and if you look on there, there's a little bit of colour but not too much. There's a little bit of texture but not too much. We've tried to keep lots of white. You know I like lots of white, but how about that? If you love this card, stay tuned and we're going to go into detail on how to make it. Some time ago now, I released a number of signature collections in my own name when I was over on Create and Craft, and here are a couple of the elements that I created. So I did a frame, I did a square frame, a heart frame, I did some others, and I also had a collection which was almost like a collaboration with Fleurs, and it was Corrine's Fantasy collection, and I'm going to be using some of these as well. Oh, I have to find the right ones, but yeah, these are some of the ones I'm going to be using. So this is a brilliant opportunity for me to be able to show you lots of things. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is we'll start at the beginning, we'll build our card up. I've got a rectangle, I think it was 5 3/4 by 7 inches, and I've just got a stencil on here, and I'm just going to lay that over the top. I'm not sticking it down or anything like that. We're just going to fly by the seat of our pants and just pop it on there like that. I've got a couple of inks. I've got, I don't know whether the pink tulip will be too pale, and I've also got spring meadow, just water reactive, because I want them really light and pale. So I've got a couple of blending brushes. I'm using my Time for Tea blending brushes because I love these. They work so well and I can get a really light effect. And I'm just going to go through here. Now, I don't know how much you can see, but from where I am, there's not a lot of ink showing, but that's just what I want. I want to keep it nice and light through here. So I'm just randomly trying to, isn't random hard, trying to be nice and nothing too specific, just through here. And again, you can't really see a great deal until I come to pick off the stencil at the end. And you can see I'm not holding my brushes too close to the top because I don't want too much pressure. This is just about giving it a light dusting. If you're at all unsure, if you're careful, you can lift. Oh, look at that, that looks brilliant. And then pop it back down again afterwards. Trying to blend over those seams. Come right down in this corner. I'm not even going to put any more ink on here. I'm just going to use the ink that's left and blend those out. Because I don't want, means two things. I make my own colours and also I don't get any joins. And there we go. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? I love that effect. So easy to achieve. And again, you're going to get more of that effect if you use a blending brush rather than your Dauber sponges. So that is really easy to do. Let's just get rid of that ink off there. So the first thing I've done is I've got a card blank, and again, this was just a card blank that I had left over from doing another project when I cut a piece of A3 card in half. I've got some linen card. I'm being quite frugal with this, and it's just a bit, I've taken the centre out. Just used my paper trimmer to take the centre out of there so that I could use it for other bits and pieces. So we're going to pop that across there. Oh, it just leaked a little bit. Let me find my, I've got a clean wipe just there. God, it wouldn't be one of my videos if you didn't hear something fall on the floor at some point, would it? Something falls on the floor every single time. There we go. That goes on there. Okay, I'm going to go back to my collal now. I've got a bit more control. Take this one out here, and I'm going to take this and put some glue on the back of there. So we can then just put my collal all over. I'm picking the collal because it gives me a little bit of extra strength as well. So we can pop that onto here. I've gone up again by about 1/8 of an inch because I want a really fine border. I don't want too big a chunky border, and that's going to go on there. And then if we want to, we can just brayer it out to get it really, really stuck down. I said to you when I do my shows how I always like to use the brayer when I'm at home. It just evens out that glue. It gets everything stuck down really well. And it also just helps to strengthen the card, I think. It really does. Just making sure I've got no glue oozing. And that is my first layer, and that's going to dry nice and firm. I'm just going to put that down really carefully this time. Okay, so I need to build up some other layers. Can I just say, when I started this card, it was going to be a complete clean and simple card. There wasn't going to be any colour on this, but then I just missed it, just missed the colour. So I'm going to pop that just out of the way for a minute. And then I'm going to bring in one of my Lisa Horton 3D embossing folders. Now, I didn't realise how long I'd had these. It says copyright 2020. So I either got these in 2020 or 2021, I think. I've cut a piece of card, remind myself. I've only just cut it 2.5 by 5.5. I can get 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 in here, but I've just done this by 2.5 by 5.5. Oh, it's going to go that way up. I'm just going to put it. I know it makes no difference. It's white card both ways, but it just makes me happier. So I'm going to pop that in there. Now it is a 3D embossing folder. So I need my plates. So I've got a cutting plate, I've got a magnetic shim, and I've got a plastic shim, rather than the two cutting plates you'd have for a 2D embossing folder. Let's run that through, because I want to show you how fantastic this is going to come out. Let's see. There we go. Let's move that out of the way. And then I've got this. And then when you pick that up, look at that. It's like sculpting. You can feel it in there. Isn't that absolutely amazing? So I love that look. So what we're going to do is I've just taken another piece of card and I've just going to pop that on there. And again, I've gone up by about 1/8 of an inch. So let's put my collal glue on the back of there. That's going to go all over there. Remembering you've got lots of divots and bits to pop that in, and then I can pop that on there as well. There we go. Oops, there we go. Pop that out of there. Okay, so I was going to colour that, wasn't I? I can still do that. Let me just come in with a little bit of ink. I was going to do this first. Right, I want the slightest bit, and I'm just going to come round the edges, because that pink's quite strong. It's not going to show. There we go. There's always a way. I always forget the order in which I was going to do everything. But there we go. Just taking off that white. And again, I'm just doing it very lightly, and I'm doing it again with my blending brush, just so that I don't get any streaks, any cloudiness, or too much colour. There we go. There's always a way, isn't there? And that's going to go on to my card, just there. I could even stick that down, couldn't I? You can see I've already been cutting out of this piece. We can always get the most out of our card. And that's going to pop just here. So even though I've not got anything else, I know I want the same border all the way around. So I can just pop that on there. So building it up nicely so far. Okay, so let's have a go with some of my signature bits. So these are the dies I'm using for everything today. So these two are from my signature collection, as I mentioned to you before. Those are those two. And then I'll get the right flowers, because I think I picked up the wrong ones there. Ooh, it's that one. That's the one I'm using. Blush bells. You can see on here, it's the blush bells off here as well, and then just some random foliage bits. So those are the ones I'm going to be using. So I have cut out one of the frames, and that's cut out like that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? I love these. And again, these were all hand drawn by myself. And then I've also got this gorgeous heart as well, which I've cut out from this one. There we are. Now, as I said, these were a signature collection that I launched quite some time ago, but they might still be available. I don't know. You might be able to find them on auction sites and things like that, because I know they're not available. They were Create and Craft, and that version of Create and Craft has long since gone. So yeah, have a look and you might be able to find something. Right, I've cut a square of the pink in 3 inches. Well, I've gone fractionally under, the tiniest little bit under. And what that'll do is it'll mean that it'll come all the way down here. Come on out. I've had the glue upside down so that it came out. Let me just, oh, it always does, doesn't it? Always does. We just, come on. There we go. Right, now we can get it out. There we go. Oh, much better. Oh, why am I getting pink, I wonder? I must have had a bit of pink on my pin. Wonder if I use my pin for my glossy colours. Never mind. And that's going to fit just through there, like that. Because I've just cut it just under the 3-inch mark, fractionally under. So you can see that fits, makes a lovely frame, but I can still see that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that in the middle. Quite busy. Let's do that with a tape runner, I think. Where are we? I've got a dotty one here, because that might be easier. And we can just come over here. We've got the tools, so why not use them? There we go. And then that is going to go just in the centre like that. And then I'm going to pop that on to here. So let's put that on. I'm going to use some foam tape. Oh, that's big foam tape. Where is my new roll of foam tape? I've lost it. That's ridiculous because it's huge. It's absolutely huge and now I can't see it. So, okay, we're going to go with foam pads. We're going to go with foam pads. There we go. Right, I'm going to put the foam pads on this side. That's ridiculous. It's the biggest roll of foam tape you've ever seen and I don't know where I've put it. I have no idea. There we go. Let's put these on this side and then we can take this off from here. Now the reason I've not put them on that side is because I need lighter ones. See if I can find some slimmer ones. These ones slimmer? Yes, these are slimmer. So let's just put some slimmer ones on this, just a couple on this side so that to compensate for the embossed panel. Oh, life's too short for foam pads that don't want to come off. There we go. One on there. One on there. There we go. Take that off. And then that. Let's put that about... I want to make sure it's definitely off centre. There we go. Like that. There we are. Again, this is one of those cards I'm designing as we go. So we have got... our card starting to feel quite robust and looking lovely. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to bring in the florals. So I have got, I've lost it. Oh, it's up there. I've got some flower forming foam. There are lots of brands on the market, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this onto here, just like that. And actually, I could fold that in half, because I can get through 4 layers without any problem. Put a little piece I need a new piece of tape because it's foam. Put that on here. Then I'm going to get my small plates. Can I get that in? If I put them right? Yes, I can. Small die cutting machine. With your small die cutting machine, I wouldn't go more than 4 layers. If you're using an electric die cutting machine, you could easily go 6 layers. It's entirely up to you. Because it's 4 layers, it's a small machine. I'm just going to bring it back as well. Let's move that out of the way. Back on top of my die cutting machine, and then we can pop that out. And if I show you, look at that. An absolute, that's it. Come on off. Tape's stuck on there. Let's get the tape off. There we are. Straight out, no problems whatsoever. So then I want to colour them, and I'm just going to make up 1 flower for now. So I'm going to take 2 large and 1 small. So I've got enough here to make, I could make another one, and I've got a couple of small ones left over, but that's absolutely fine. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back in my Spring Meadow. I'm keeping with the same colours, but instead of the paler pink, I'm going with a slightly darker pink, because it just to make it show up. And okay, so I'm going to take my Spring Meadow and my fuchsia. I'm going to get my doorbell, and I'm just going to go into the centre. Now, in truthfulness, you actually only need to do it in the centre of the top row, but I'm creature habit. I do it on all of the rows, all of the layers, sorry, just because if they, you know, people sort of have a little fiddle around with them, then that colour shines through. If you look at any flower out in the wild, they're never white. They always have a little bit of colour built into the centre. Always do. Just, it's that almost like where everything's deep together. So dauber, I'm not being too concerned about applying the colour. I'm just applying a little bit of colour to the edges. And I'm making sure I do both sides, because these flowers are going to be so three-dimensional. We're going to see both sides of the flower. So please don't just put ink on one side. Make sure you put it on both. Don't worry about it blending and not looking natural, because what we're going to do in a minute is going to blend the ink. It's going to blend it lovely for us. So that's that bit done. Let's move that out of the way and let's get rid of that. So what I need is, I've got ready, oops, get that out of the way. I've got my craft iron. Let's put it that way so you can see. Can you see that? I think so, yes you can. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my flower front side over onto here. And you can see it drops off. That softened it. That's warmed the foam. It takes probably seconds. So once I've done that, I put all the petals on top of each other. Then I pinch them together. This is probably how you see me make more of my flowers. And even if I'm doing some construction flowers, I'll start off like this. I'm actually going to put it back onto the iron and really work the tips of them. I'm going to do the other large one. Let it drop down. Shape, layer one, all the petals on top of each other. Then I'm going to pinch, and then I'm going to pop it back on the iron just to warm that up. If you feel like your colour's fading a bit, just go over with that. It's a really good time to go over with the dauber, because it only it's a bit like tie-dyeing. It'll only catch it, you know, on the bits that are exposed. So actually adding an extra little bit of ink whilst it's all pinched and screwed up is quite effective. Pop that like that, give it a little burst, pop it on there. I'm going to grab that and give it a good scrunch. Better do that one. Okay, let me just unplug the iron, because I am a bit of a clumsy, and move that out of the way. So this is where it's different. So if you remember when I was doing paper flowers, I used my hard black mat. This time I'm bringing in a nice spongy mat. You can use, I've got baby sponges. Let me see if I can find one. I've got a pack of baby sponges down here. These work just as well. Excuse the rattling. I won't do any more of that. They work really well for flower making. So that was my small one. So all I'm going to do is open up the foam. Now you can then sort of do lots of shaping, but I'm not going to do lots of shaping at this moment. I'm just going to open that out. Then I'm going to open out the next one. It is always a good idea to get all the petals opened out and any extra shaping done before you start gluing, in my opinion anyway. So we can do that, open that out. I'm trying not to do much to the tips of them, because otherwise I'll flatten all that shaping. And then my third one. So I've got three like that. The other thing I want to do, let's put that to one side, is I've got some lovely sort of really bright, it's very similar, isn't it, to my Spring Meadow linen card. And I'm just going to get the centre of my flower, and I want two of these. So again, they're going to go perfectly through my smaller die cutting machine. Take one. And I'm sure you've got lots of flowers and you can be doing things like this and making centres. If you don't have the centre like this, just go straight to the next step. It really won't hurt. Let's do a second. Now, one of the flowers I did, I was only going to put one centre in, and then I thought, oh no, it looks so much better with two. So that's the way I have chosen to go with these. Just trying to keep a little bit organised. And so I've got my two centres. So all I'm going to do is ball tool. Move those out of the way for a minute. Just getting everything ready first. 1 and 2. There we go. And the other thing I've got ready is, a little flat back gem. So it's really easy to put these together, and would help with a pair of tweezers, which I've got just here. I'm going to start with my centre. Now all I can say is, when you're using foam, you really, really will benefit from using hot glue. Hot glue is your best friend when you're using foam. It really is the best way to do it. So one centre inside the other, staggered. Just make sure they are staggered a little bit. There we go. And ball tool, just to press that glue down. Then we're going to go in with our flowers. I'm going to do them on my glass mat. One. You see how small amount of glue I'm using. Layer 2. Just pressing that glue very lightly with my finger there, just to make it grab. And 3. Make sure it's staggered again. Oops. There we go. Stagger that. And then I'm going to take it to my foam mat. And then I'm just going to press it down. Now, the smaller the ball tool, the more it's going to cut around it. So what we're doing is we're shaping that glue while it sets. So as soon as I do that, look, that hot glue has shaped into that shape. So this is never going to open out totally flat again, which is what I want. That's perfect. Oh, I've slipped those, but we can get around that. So then we can take these. Your foam mat will never be the same again once you've done things like this with glue on, because you'll get loads of bits of glue on it. So that's why I sometimes get those cheap baby sponges, because you can then just throw them away. Pop like that, just hold that down. And then finally, all I'm going to do, turn that over. This is why I use squeezy tweezers, see, because I've let go and everything stays where it is. Little blob of glue. Don't worry about the strings, we can get rid of any strings at the end. And then, oops, squeeze that into the centre. I give it a second or two to cure, and then I'll go in and press it down. But just to show you, these, see, that one, this is the one we just made. Oops. With the strings on, and these are the 3 I made before. Aren't they absolutely stunning? I love that. Now, the other thing I've done, and I thought it worked, by using the same green, I've cut a couple of leaves out, and then I've also cut some random foliage as well in white. Okay, so that's my flowers. Oh, isn't that beautiful? What a pretty colour palette that is. So put that to one side, and then I just want to show you the other thing I've done. Now, if you remember earlier, my previous one, I used some of my Sharon Callis sentiments, and this time we're using Beautiful, and I've done exactly what I did before. I've cut it out of pink, I've cut it out of white, and then I've just drop shadowed that. So those are all of my elements. So if we bring the card back in, we're going to do this with Dottie. No, I'm going to have to go wet glue because of the layers. Let's see if I can get the glue out. So let's put some wet glue on the back of here. It's going to grab better, isn't it? It's quite robust now because it's 2 layers. So this is getting on for about 550 GSM, because I've got 300 white and probably about 250 in my linen. So that gives me 550 GSM. So it's really nice and robust. And then I can put this on here. And the reason I'm putting this on first is so that I can see where my flower's going to go. And that really works because I've added that little bit of extra colour in at the background. If it had all been white, it might have been a little bit too much. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, you know me with my flowers, I'm going to grab a couple of the flowers, and again, I'm using the hot glue, and I'm going to pop these just... Now you can see we lose quite a lot of the bits that you do from behind, but don't worry about that. It's almost like giving that impression of, you know, of there being more. Let's come. Do I want to use 4? Do I want to use 3? Ooh, I don't know. Should we do it like, see, these are still, oh, let's do it like that. Oh, that one. That was one I started to stick down. Let's push that one in here. And then that one I started to stick down. It hadn't glued completely. There. And then that one. That one's only got 2 layers to it. So it's a little bit less. And then I'm going to just pop in the foliage. I always, personally, I pop my foliage in afterwards, because I find otherwise I end up covering most of it, because it always needs to be further apart than you expect. And then I'm going to come in with the white foliage. And again, I'm just going to tuck it in. If it looks too big, you can trim it. It's not a problem. There's no problem coming off the edge of your cards on the tops and the sides. Obviously, if this was near the bottom, you'd need to trim it down so it didn't come off the bottom of your card wouldn't stand up, would it? But tops and sides, no problem. I can see quite a lot of stringy bits at the moment, but I'm not going to get worried about those because I can deal with those afterwards. But doesn't that change it? Just put in all that foliage. And I've got one more here, a different one. I wanted one that was a little bit different. See if I can sneak. There we go. That in there. Now, if it was me, normally I'd be coming in with beads and gems, bows, whatever. But today I'm going to stop there because I think that is absolutely gorgeous. Remember, hot glue, you don't have much time to play around with arrangements, but as long as you're happy with it, you can adjust the flowers, open them out, and how about that? I'm so pleased with that, using my signature collection flowers and a couple of my elements, but you can use whatever you want. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a go at making something like this, even if it's just inspiration for the layout or what have you. But I hope you enjoy it, and I'd love to see what you make. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.